Today in this video, I'm going to be continuing my trading series on how to actually trade crypto like a pro. And in this episode, we're going to be jumping into trading Lite. And this is my favorite software to use for actually seeing what's going on behind the exchanges as far as their order book, the order flow, the open interest, the cumulative volume delta, right? There's just so much you could do with this software. So let's get into the cost of this program. The trial is free, so I recommend you obviously just try out the trial for free. And then once you've made your first week of profitability trading, right? You've made $100 or whatever trading. Then go ahead, just start on the gold version. There's really no point to pay for silver. Silver is going to be only spot essentially, right? And you don't want to be looking at spot order books or order flow or any of that. You want to be on the gold version where you get the full perpetuals, Binance, Bybit. You get some other exchanges too, like Kraken and whatnot. But we're going to be using Bybit and Binance. Those are the ones you want to stick to. Gold's the way to go. It's $25 a month if you want to do it annually. It's like $21 a month. I'm not affiliated with them at all. I don't have a code for you or anything. I just really like this program and I do use them myself. Now, there is another program that you've probably heard of that's a little bit more popular than this one for order flow, and it is technically better for specifically order flow, but Trading Lite just has more in it, like seeing the order book depth displayed in the back where you can see actual positions that are limited into the market. But that's going to be ExoCharts over here. ExoCharts is also a very, very good software. I just don't pay for it because Trading Lite has everything I need plus more. But it does feature some different things. It has a little bit of a different layout. So I would encourage you guys to research both of these. There's not a ton of information on these guys because not a lot of people use actual trading software. They just kind of gamble. But if you do want to really get into trading, you're gonna you really need one of these softwares, either ExoCharts or Trading Lite or both. I know a lot of people use both, but yeah. Those are the two softwares I'd look into. I personally go with Trading Lite here. Get the gold version. You'll be all set. All right. So as you can see, this is how I have it set up. Pretty complicated. What I'm gonna do I'm gonna open a new window for you guys so you can see kind of what it looks like when you first open up the software. You're gonna get something like this. You're gonna get pretty much a big volume profile on your right. You got volume bars on the bottom. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll switch this to something we can actually use. So we'll do Binance USDM. We'll search Bitcoin here, and we can see USDT. These are perpetuals for Bitcoin on Binance. And now, what is this purple background that you see here? Let's actually get into this. This is going to be actual limits in the order book, right? So you have sellers up top, buyers on the bottom. So what I like to do is move this up where I get a minimum of like 100 Bitcoin, right? So you're not seeing, all those tiny orders. And then I would do peaking this at probably around 1,000, right? And that'll just brighten up some of your bigger orders like this. You can see if this is all the way to the right, you're not really going to see any color contrast there. But anything over about 1,000 Bitcoin, you want to be max brightness essentially, right? So you can see these are your bigger walls, right? Limit long. So you can see there's not a whole lot of limit longs in the market right now. They are limiting shorts though, so this can tell you there's a lot of pressure to the downside, right? A lot of big positions opening up shorts, right? These are 500 Bitcoin, 570 Bitcoin, and you can actually see what's really interesting here. You did have a big whale actually kind of do something that I would do, right? If you watch my other videos, you'll know that I like to trade sweep structures. And what did we have here? We had a perfect sweep structure. So you would take this as a sweep level. You can see price went up and swept that perfectly. If you were to see that sweep and then take a fib from high to low, you would have shorted the golden pocket, right? Obviously, you'd want other confluences than just sweep level, but just for example, you can see sweep level, swept, pull fib for golden pocket, and you'd want to place your shorts from the 618 to the 786. And as you can see here, look at this guy. He saw that sweep, and as soon as that happened, he went ahead and limited in this 600 Bitcoin short to get filled. And as you can see, he got filled right at the highs. So yeah, it's really cool to be able to look at that and actually see what's going on behind the markets and who you're trading with. So yeah, that's pretty cool to see, and that's your order book in the background. You know, it's how I would set it up, right? Just slide this to where it's about 100, and then slide that to where it's about 1,000, right? Because if this is set all the way back, you'll just get a lot of noise, and you don't need to see all these little guys opening leverage positions. You want to see where those big orders are in the order book, right? So I'm just gonna set it like right there. Now this is just the Binance. What I want to actually do is I want to go ahead and split my view, and then I want to get Bybit over here. So we'll go ahead, we'll switch this from Binance USDTM, right, to Bybit perpetuals. So we'll go ahead, we'll search Bitcoin and Bybit, Bitcoin USDT pair, and now we have Bybit over here, and you can see Bybit doesn't have the full order book, right? It just kind of shows very locally. So essentially, when you're on the app, and you look at their order book, right? It's you would go to the Bitcoin trading pair, and you'd see that like small order book next to where you place your positions. That's essentially what you're seeing on Bybit right here. So it's not the full in-depth one like on Binance where you can see all the way down, you know, as far down as you want to go. But it does show you kind of locally what the limits are, so it can be kind of nice to look at that. I mainly just look at the Bybit walls, right? Because you'll be able to see those a lot easier, or at any price, right? Whereas this is just very locally. But we'll go ahead and do the same thing anyway. So you can see peak here is different, right? It's going to be much smaller, right? It's already at 700 Bitcoin as the max, so we'll just leave it there. And then minimum, we'll do the same thing. We'll go all the way up about 100, and you can see that that's kind of how that looks. So now let's get into actually setting up the indicators. If you watched my other videos, you know mine is very complicated. We'll go back over to mine. This is what mine looks like, right? Now I don't want to cover every single one of these in this video. I want to just focus on this main view here. We'll get into the rest of these in my next video or whatnot. There's going to be multiple parts on Trading Lite because there's just so much to cover. But let's go ahead. Let's get the footprint cluster into our view here, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slide this over to the side. And to make sure everything is copied from this view over to this view, what you want to do is just come over here to the split view and just make sure all of these are checked. I'll also check sync interval. Don't sync the market or else it'll literally just put the Binance onto Bybit as well. So just these three that will need to be checked to make sure it's all copied over. All right, so to start us off, you know, real quickly, if you do want to change like colors and stuff, you can come over here to chart and theme. If you do want to change, you know, how your chart looks, whatever, Candyland, Pumpkin, I'm just going to keep it on default. I recommend you keep it on default, but you can check out some of the others if you do think you like one of those. But what we want to do to start this off really is go up over here to your footprint. So what we want to do is we want to change this from candles to footprint cluster or footprint profile. So as you can see, when we have this turned on, you can actually zoom in and see what's going on within these candles, right? You can see like right here, there's like 924 Bitcoin longing and 746 Bitcoin shorting, right? So you have shorts on the left, longs on the right. And if you want to get the difference of these, that would be the delta, right? You'll come over here to chart, go to the footprint cluster here, and you'll click show delta, and this will be your delta. So it'll take the difference of those two values and give you that. So as you can see, like at the top of these wicks, people are top longing. You'll see that a lot, right? Like 500 Bitcoin delta longing the top, right? You can see a lot of people are getting trapped in longs up top. So that tells me with all these trapped positions, when Bitcoin starts coming to the downside, all these people are going to have to liquidate or close out of their position, which is going to force price further down. Right, so this is extremely useful. Definitely encourage you guys to do some research on order flow and all that good stuff. I will, you know, get more into depth of order flow in my later videos. And this video is just about setting up the chart, which can take some time. So I want to just focus on getting the chart set up. But that's your order flow. Now, which one is better? You know, delta or not delta? Well, I prefer, you know, unchecking this because I just like the depth, right? I like to see, just more information. But this can also be very useful, just to easily get a grasp of what's happening in the market. It's very easy to see that there are a lot of top longs on the market, so delta is very nice to have. And what you can do is, instead of just clicking, in between that, off and on, you can go over here and workspace, and you can just make a new workspace. You can have multiple charts with your different order flow settings. And the next order flow setting we'll get into is the footprint profile. And this is the same thing, but it just visualizes it a little bit differently. It'll show you it in this format, right, where you have the more longs, the further this bar kind of extends out. So it's a little bit different way to visualize it. So if you like this, go for it. I don't particularly use this one as much. I prefer, this view here personally. So we'll go ahead and we'll stick with that view for the sake of this video. But yeah, I definitely encourage you guys to go ahead and just mess with all these settings here. But getting back to those top longs, we can see that there was 111 Bitcoin right at the top of this wick being long, whereas there was only 20 Bitcoin in shorts opening. What is that? Well, that's an imbalance, and an imbalance tells you price has big resistance up at this level, right? Because these are people off exchange bringing down price. Because the reason this did not go up when the 111 Bitcoin were longing, you would think if there's more longs than shorts, well, price would go up. Well, not necessarily, because off of this particular perpetual exchange, there was way more sell pressure at this price. And essentially, these longers just got trapped. And what we can do is we can actually get those imbalances marked in your chart. So to get that, we'll go back over here to this footprint cluster settings, and we'll go ahead and we will enable imbalances. And default is 250%. I like going 400%. So as you can see, when we have the imbalance enabled, we can see that when you get these top longers, imbalancing the shorts, we'll get this green line that comes out, and that will act as resistance. So if price were to come back up to this, you would see it act as resistance, because that's an imbalance in the chart, right? So jumping down here, we can see we have, heat map settings, volume. Don't really need to change any of this. VPVR, this is your volume profile that you see over here on the right. This can be very useful. It shows you, value areas. You can zoom out and you can see where the volume's at. So I would assume, this area here is probably going to go pretty quick because there's not a lot of volume, right? It'll wick through it kind of like these candles here. It'll probably wick all the way through to like that. But this whole area within here has a lot of volume, so it's probably going to take longer for them to bring price through all of this. And this is, obviously a much bigger supportive area. So if you were to enter a long, you'd want to wait until you got into these high volume areas to take that position. So that's your volume over here on the right. We can go ahead, we can put delta on, right? So this will show you, the delta of where the sells are versus longs. And again, the delta is just the difference between longs and shorts. But I like taking delta off. It's not really necessary on a volume profile like that. Point of control, I will enable this. This will show you where the biggest volume level is, right? So point of control is somewhere you're going to find a lot of big support or resistance, right? So price could easily want to come down to this level, right? I would not be surprised if Bitcoin comes down, finds support on the point of control, and that's where it ends up bouncing from. So point of control is very good to have in there, as well as value area right here. You can see when it's unchecked, it's all the same color, whereas if you check it, you'll see where it's out of the value area, it will be kind of grayed out. So you can expect Bitcoin to return to this value area, and where it could find support is on that value area high as well. This could be a potential long, right? What you want to do is find these levels, wait for price to come to your levels, and then watch order flow. And then, order flow will tell you, are you going to have the edge in the market to take that position, right? So that's going to be everything for your volume profile. And then lastly, what we'll do is we'll add a TPO profile to the chart as well. So this is very similar to your volume profile, but it's on a day-to-day basis. And what you can do is go to indicators, and I actually recommend looking through all of these. You have official indicators, which is what we use in a lot of these, and then community indicators. Tons and tons of cool community indicators. I recommend going through, just like do this on your own. Go check out all these. If you just sort by likes, you can see these are all the best, most liked ones. So these these are all worth checking out and seeing if you like any of these for yourself. But what we're going to be using in this video is we're just going to be adding a TPO profile, and that's going to be in the official indicators, right? TPO/market profile. Yeah, so we're just going to add that TPO profile, and this will show you in letters what's happening within the day, right? So essentially, the more this goes down the alphabet, the longer price has spent in that area, the more volume that's been traded. This is a time-based profile. So essentially, instead of looking at volume like we have over here on the right, this is going to be just time-based, right? How much time has Bitcoin spent at that level? And what you'll get from these is single prints, right? So when Bitcoin flies into an area where there's low time spent and then gets back into high time spent, that can act as big resistance, right? So you can see that sweep level, right? When it swept this level, it didn't want to spend much time above there. So once it got back under, that could tell you, hey, this level is big resistance. Bitcoin doesn't like spending a lot of time up there, and you short this level, which is what this guy did here, right? 900 Bitcoin short. So that's really cool, but I will want to change some settings on this TPO profile. So all of this stuff is fine, you know, point of control. So value area here, see, right? This is very similar to the value area on the volume profile. You know, grayed out just means it's spending less time in it. So value area high, value area low, those can act as support as resistance. And what we can do to easily visualize that is to click draw arrays. So it'll just draw out lines from those levels. So I'd like to keep those on. And then lastly, this one is very important, single prints. And single prints will show you the low volume areas. So what I can already tell you is that you're going to have one single print up here at D. So if you go ahead and enable single prints, and we want to put show tails on, right, you can see that coming out of this low time area, we have one single print, and that's, you know, marking your top for Bitcoin there. And then as well as on the bottom here, we have a couple more single prints. So yeah, those are your single prints there, essentially, you know, low time areas. So single prints there, you know, can be very useful. You can also use previous day single prints as support and resistance, you know, previous day volume levels, all this good stuff. These will all act as levels that could be, you know, big support or resistance, right, as well. So I actually like to change these tails to pink. I think that's kind of better in the eyes. But yeah, that's your single prints there. So do your own research on the single prints, right? I will cover this more in another video, but I think this one's already getting pretty long. So I'm going to be ending this episode here. So yeah, that's part one of getting this trading Lite all set up. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Got some good information out of it. You know, I know there's not a lot of videos on this software, so I hope I can help some of you guys out that maybe already have the software and you're just, you know, searching on YouTube like, hey, what's the best setup for this thing? And this is just what I use. So I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. If you do want to check out my other trading series videos, I have a playlist on YouTube. Just go to my playlist and you'll see the other videos on this series. But yeah, without further ado, I will be heading out of here. So see you all in the next one.